Pokemon has been around for almost 30 years now, and because of that, there are obviously going to be things that are cut from the games and, never really actually released by the Pokemon Company. This, of course, includes, like, story elements, maybe characters, but this also includes a lot of Pokemon. We actually do know, because of, like, different demo leaks, we actually know of many of these Pokemon that were once planned to be in the game. Some have been even talked about in interviews by GameFreak. Today, we're going to be talking about the 10 that I would, in the spirit of Spooky Month, bring back from the dead and would say, this shouldn't be a beta Pokemon, this is something that we should bring back. Welcome back to the Lumiose Post, where we talk about all things Pokemon. Today, we're talking about the 10 beta Pokemon I'd bring back from the dead. Obviously, let me know which 10 you would pick in the comments below. Now, for this list, I'm not going to be talking about beta designs of Pokemon we have, right? Like, for example, Kingdra is a Pokemon that went through a pretty big design change. I'm not going to be talking about things like that. I'm talking about designs that were completely scrapped altogether, not, just an early design of an existing Pokemon. I know there's some wiggle room with that because you can make the argument that some Pokemon were reworked into other Pokemon down the line, but I'm talking about the more obscure, maybe a few elements were taken later, but definitely not, just an early version of this thing, right? So let's get into it with my number 10 pick, and this would be the dinosaur skeleton. Obviously, these things don't really have names, or at least most of them don't have names. But there's this scrapped Pokemon, I believe this is from the Gen 2 beta, that is a dinosaur, but it's all bones. Like, it's a skeleton dinosaur. And look, I'm a simple man. I like this. It's, is it a crazy world-bending design? No. But it's a dinosaur, and it's also just like a skeleton. I mean, that's cool, right? I'm not crazy here, right? And this also could be a potential rock ghost type, which, after 9 generations, after almost 30 years of Pokemon, we actually do not have. So, it's just crazy to think that there was a potential rock ghost type in Gen 2, and they scrapped it, and here we are 7 generations later with no rock ghost type Pokemon. Moving into number 9, we have Funny Lizard. Yes, that's what we're calling this one. Look, this little guy, again, nothing crazy here, but I love this Pokemon. I think this is such a, cute and funny Pokemon, and I feel like if this had been, because this was scrapped from Gen 1, I believe, if this was a Gen 1 Pokemon, it would have been on my Gen 1 team, and it would have been a Pokemon that I just would have adored. It would have been, like, my little goofball Pokemon. I could see it in the anime being, like, the comic relief of the show, similar to, like, Oshawott or, Chespin. I love this so much. I hate that they got rid of it. I love this little guy. Lizard, crocodile, not sure what he is, and in a way that makes me love him even more. Number 8 is the Bellcat. Now, you could say that this is an early Umbreon, but you would be wrong, because this exists in a Gen 2 beta where Umbreon already existed. Umbreon may have been poison type in this one, but either way, this is not an early Umbreon. This probably would have been a dark type Pokemon. It's a little kitty that evolves into a pretty cool looking cat that has a bell for a tail, and I don't know, this just vibes with me. I think it's really cool. I could see this like being a staple of Halloween. Like, anytime it's October, you know that in Pokemon's merch lineup, this little guy's gonna be there. I am not a huge fan of a lot of the cat Pokemon that we have in the current did not get scrapped Pokemon world, but this one would have been easily a fan favorite of mine. I love this thing so much. Number 7, we have the Bomb Seal. There was, in Gen 2, a seal that had a little fireball that it would play with on its nose, and that's just epic. A potential water fire type well before Volcanion, and this one is not a mythical, it seems. This would have been so cool. It also makes a ton of sense because, like, you've got the fireball because the whole thing was seals playing with a, ball, but then, like, it can kind of smack the fireball at opponents. I could see it learning Pyro Ball, which currently only Cinderace has, so that's kind of a cool thought there too. I love this thing. I wish it was in the game. I'm guessing they scrapped it because it's right after Seal and Dugong, so why have that? But no, this would have been so cool. Moving into number 6, this is a Pokemon that I'm not necessarily like crazy about the designs like the other Pokemon on this list, but I like it for what it does for the Pokemon world. And this is, I believe it's called Turban. It is a Shelter evolution that you'll notice looks like the Shelter that is on Slowbro, right? And that just makes sense, because that's always been a question. Like, why does Shelter look like this on Slowbro when it doesn't look like that remotely, and Cloyster doesn't look like that remotely? Why is that? Is this not a new Pokemon? And this would have been a great way to explain it. You know, you have this alternate evolution. So you're like, oh, that's cool. So when a Shelter bites a Slowpoke, the Slowpoke evolves into Slowbro, and the Shelter evolves into Turban, and together they make, you know, the Slowbro. That would have been really cool. It would have been a great way to recontextualize this Pokemon. I feel like it does a lot for the Shelter line. I also feel like it does a lot for the Slowpoke line. It would have been nice. Again, it's not like a design that I'm like, oh, this would have been on my team, but it's a design that I'm like, that probably would have been better for, like, the lore of the world, right? Now we're getting into the top 5, and these are the ones that I am, like, not just crazy about the designs, but I'm actively upset every day that these are not in the games. First off, we have what I call the wolf in sheep's clothing. This is a little guy, probably was an ice-type Pokemon. It's giving me that vibe, at least, that looks like a little wolf man thing. It kind of reminds me, it's got a fluffy coat, so it kind of reminds me of like a wolf in sheep's clothing. I don't think that's exactly what they're going for. I think it's more of a werewolf thing, but that's just what speaks to me. But I love this. It gives me kind of, I don't know, like Snorunt vibes, and I really, really like Snorunt and Glalie, so I would have absolutely adored this Pokemon. It's so sad. Gen 2 is honestly, its dex to me is pretty lackluster. It's got some really cool stuff, but it's also got a lot of really mundane stuff, and so much of these really cool designs that I hate were scrapped are from Gen 2, so it's just like, what could have been? But this one, man, I love this so much. Probably would have been Ice-type, maybe Ice-Dark. Perhaps that was even reworked into Sneasel. I don't know if they exist in the same beta or not, but either way, this one is awesome. 4 is the Anchor Shark line. Look, Sharpedo and Garchomp. Those are our 2 shark Pokemon currently. Garchomp it's a hammerhead shark, but, you know, it's a little bit different because it's standing up. It's, you know, a land-based thing, so it's not screaming shark at you. And Sharpedo is missing half its body if it's supposed to be a shark, and I don't like that. This Anchor Shark is so freaking cool. It is a shark. It has the back half, but the back half has been converted into an anchor, which is like the most metal thing ever. I could see this being either a water steel type or a water ghost type with Steelworker, similar to how Delmise is a grass ghost type with Steelworker, so that it has a, you know, bit of a steel type stab even still. The baby form of this Pokemon is adorable as well. This would have been such a cool Pokemon. I feel like this would have been up there with Basculegion in terms of like best aquatic or fish Pokemon. I love this thing so much. Again, I actively hate everything because this thing doesn't exist. Number 3 is one that I think a lot of fans get on, and that is the Katora line. Katora was this little electric tiger that had, I believe, 2 evolutions, and the thing is, in Gen 1, it was a thing, got scrapped. Okay, whatever, it happens. Gen 2, they're like, it's time. Katora's in the game, and they scrap it again. They scrap Katora again. So this Pokemon has died, been brought back, and has died again, and I think it's time we bring it back, and we bring it back for good. It's an electric tiger. Do I need to say more? Going into number 2, we have the Gorochu line, I believe is how you pronounce that. It's this Plesiosaur. Now look, this one conflicts me, because this was the original water starter of Gen 2. I love Totodile, and I love Feraligatr. So, I am very happy that Totodile exists. I would not want Gorochu's line to take the place of Totodile, but dang it, do I want them back. Make this our Gen 10 starter, please, because this is adorable. Its evolution is freaking epic. This is, it's everything to me. I love this so much. Now, before we get into number 1, I want to talk about an honorable mention, because I feel like there's a Pokemon that has kind of become the mascot of these beta Pokemon that were scrapped, and that is Gorochu. People love Gorochu. For those who don't know, Gorochu was a planned evolution of Raichu. So it would have gone in Gen 1, Pikachu evolves into Raichu, which evolves into Gorochu. this was ultimately scrapped, and I'm actually glad it was, and it's why Gorochu's not on my list. Because look, if it went Pikachu, Raichu, Gorochu, Pichu wouldn't be a thing. And I can't live in a world where this adorable little guy is not a thing. So, no thank you, Gorochu. Would be cool to use the design, whatever it was, reworked as like a Raichu Mega, but or maybe even a split evolution. But no, I don't want Pikachu, Raichu, Gorochu. I'm glad it didn't happen because Pichu's amazing, and I would have never wanted to lose that. Now, my final one is one I've actually mentioned in a couple videos before, and this is this like gondola Viking ship Pokemon that is just epic. I mean, it's just amazing. Probably would have been Water Dragon. Look at it. It's so cool. It's what Pokemon should be, in my opinion. Like, I think a lot of people complain about inanimate Pokemon designs. You know, Klefki, Vanillux, Clink. Those are Pokemon that I feel like get a lot of hate. But this is how inanimate Pokemon should be done, in my opinion. It is straight up like a Viking ship or a canoe or something, right? Like, this is a boat. It's an inanimate object. But they rework it to look very dinosaur-like and like it is an animal. Even though it's also an animate object, it looks like an animal. It looks like something that would live naturally in the world. It looks like something that I could, you know, go to Olivine City and see swimming out in the distance on the horizon. So, I love it. It's perfect. Why was this scrapped? I can never understand why this was scrapped. Look at it again. It's perfect. It's perfect. But yeah, be sure to let me know what your top 10 Pokemon that you would bring back from their beta stage. You would get this Pokemon made and it was scrapped before. Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. What do you think of my list? And until next time, I will see all of you later.